What's up guys, this is Ryan from Tower Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a video on my first impressions on the iPad Air. So my first tablet ever was the HP touchpad. I got it when it was on the fire sale for $99, and I put, I believe, CyanogenMod version of ice cream sandwich on it. Then my next tablet was the 2012 Nexus 7, which I got when it first came out back last summer, 2012. And then again this summer I got the 2013 Nexus 7, and I still have all those tablets. So this is actually my first iPad, not necessarily my first full-size tablet because of the HP touchpad, but I didn't really use that for that long. I'm going to be going over my first impressions now, covering the design, battery life, cameras, all that, just giving some light first impressions on the use that I've gotten out of the iPad over the past probably around 36 hours. I was hesitant to buy this just because of the $500 price point, and I didn't really think that I needed it because I already have the Nexus 7s, which were my primary tablets, and really I couldn't complain with them. They were giving me a pretty good experience and still continue to. So let's go over the design, because that's probably the biggest difference with this new iPad. It sort of strays away from the classic iPad design that we came to know with the iPad 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's a more flat design on the back. We have the new colors, space gray, and probably the biggest difference is the thinner bezels, which are nice because they just make it, I think, easier to hold. Even though you don't have as much room to hold onto the tablet, you have, it's easier to type on, I found, because you don't have to reach as far across, obviously. And overall, it's just very light. It's a 1-pound tablet, very easy to hold in one hand, doesn't really strain the wrist, especially in portrait orientation. Turn to landscape, it's still pretty easy to hold. Found myself gripping it around the home button and accidentally pressing that a lot. Still very easy to hold for a full-size tablet. Eric does have the iPad mini, and I've compared it to that, and it still feels a lot bigger than that. It's not going to be like anything really like the iPad mini, so if you do want a smaller form factor, you definitely can't really get away with this in its current state, although it is a lot better than the previous version. So overall, the design in terms of usage, it feels very nice. Definitely still has that premium Apple feel to it, the all aluminum body. It feels solid, although with the thinner design it does make me kind of nervous to just throw it in a bag and take it with me. I feel like it would crack in half pretty easily just because of its thin and lightness. And also, if you tap on the display, it sort of has a hollow sound to it. And when you tap on one side of the screen and you have your hand on the other side, it's kind of hard to demonstrate, but let's say I set my thumb down here and tap on this end, you can feel it vibrating extremely well. It kind of makes you worry a little bit that the screen could shatter very easily if you were to drop it, and I'm pretty sure that would be the case. So that's definitely not a positive, but I can't really speak from experience with that. It's just how it kind of feels. We still have the same cameras. We have the 5-megapixel camera on the rear and the 1.2 megapixel on the front. Not much has changed there. I would have liked to have seen a flash just because in low light situations it does tend to get pretty grainy, and I think a flash would help out with that. But then again, it's a tablet and it's not really going to be your dedicated camera, so it's not that big of a deal. It still works for taking quick photos here and there. In terms of the buttons, we still have the same volume rocker on the right side with the mute switch / orientation lock switch, so you can change that in the software. Same power button on the top, everything there is fine, works great. Still have that same Retina display, really looks great. It's a vibrant screen, and it's really all you need. You don't really need much higher resolution than this. You can't distinguish pixels. Colors are amazing. It's a very vibrant screen. I really do like the screen on this thing. And we also have the new stereo speakers on the bottom, which I personally think sound pretty good. It's a shame that they are rear or side firing, just because it doesn't really give you the true stereo experience that you would get if they were, let's say, on the front, or even one on the top, one on the bottom. Because when you're watching video in landscape, which is pretty much how you're going to watch all your video, all the audio is coming out of one side, and it sort of tends to one ear depending on how you're holding it, and kind of sounds mono, so it kind of defeats the purpose. But if you're holding it in portrait, listening to music, whatever, it sounds pretty good. Definitely better than the Nexus 7, definitely noticed that. It's a much crisper sound. So yeah, the speakers are definitely good. They'll get the job done, although it would have been nice to see them separated a little bit more than just by the lightning port there on the bottom. In terms of performance, same holds true for what I said about the iPhone's performance with iOS 7. It runs apps fine for the most part. It's just certain things don't run as smooth as iOS 6, like, I don't know if I can show you right here, but if you rotate, I think I have an orientation lock. if you rotate the screen, it's not always smooth. There it was, of course, but in certain apps that have a lot of content, like let's go into the App Store here and turn it, you can see that that's just so choppy, and it really just takes away from the experience. It still works fine, obviously, but it is a little bit of a problem. And then some things just weren't working. Like when I first got the iPad, I downloaded all the new apps that Apple offers for free, and it took forever. I mean, obviously they're pretty big apps, but the apps would just stop downloading for no reason and like restart themselves, and they would finish and then start back up. It was really weird, and it's just not something that I'm used to with iOS. Obviously, it's a pretty new version of the operating system. It's the first time they've changed it in a while, so I'm expecting them to fix it, hopefully. But for the most part, it does perform very well, especially in third-party apps. You have the A7 processor in this thing with the M7 Motion co-processor, as well as 1 gigabyte of RAM. And so yeah, scores very well on benchmarks, and for the most part does perform very well in third-party apps, and runs most parts of the operating system very smoothly. So with updates to iOS 7, I think that it's going to be a very good performing tablet, at least from initial impressions. We'll have to see more and comment back on that in the final review. So in terms of battery life, I have not charged this tablet at all since I got it. When I first got it from Apple, it had 93%. I've used it for, again, almost 2 days, and I'm still at 45%. I haven't completely switched over to this tablet just because I haven't gotten a case for it yet, so I haven't been using it fully, but still, that's excellent battery life. I've had it on half to full brightness the whole time, and used it a good bit, and I've been really impressed with the battery life so far. Again, we'll have to comment back on that after I use it as my dedicated tablet for a few days. So yeah, that about sums up my initial impressions on the iPad Air. Overall, very positive. Gives you a pretty good premium experience. What you come to expect from Apple. Comment below what you guys think about the iPad Air, and if you agree with my initial impressions. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for future content, including the final review of the iPad Air. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.